Today doesn't mark the anniversary of the end of slavery. June 19th, 1865 celebrates a recognition that slaves were to be free. We've changed in the 155 years since, but on this day I can't help but reflect about how 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, a Union officer still had to reiterate that black people in Texas weren't to be owned. Down several different roads from where General Gordon Granger announced that federal order in Galveston, we find two notable statewide athletes rooted in the San Antonio area, Caden Sterns and Kellen Mond. Former Steele High School star Caden has become one of UT's very best players. Kellen, a Reagan High grad, is a multi-year starter at the game's premier position for an SEC school. And yet their biggest impacts may come off the field. Sterns has been at the forefront of a group of Longhorns that are calling for the replacement of the Eyes of Texas as a school song because of racist undertones and the renaming of certain buildings on campus, among other actions. Mond ramped up his demand for the removal of a statue of former Texas A&M President Lawrence Sullivan Ross, a brigadier general in the Confederacy who also led several battles against natives during his ascension to the state's governorship. While many, including former high-profile athletes for both schools, have voiced their support, plenty oppose. And that's not surprising. UT sports one of the country's most prominent brands, from the logo to hook 'em to their own shade of orange. The Eyes of Texas is instrumental in all that imagery. A&M is the state's largest university, some 63,000 students and a vast alumni base so steeped in tradition that being an Aggie is a way of life. A lot of minds, especially with those emotional factors involved, aren't going to change easily, if at all. But for those angered or bothered by this request, have you considered they need to worry about just playing football is the 2020 version of get back to work? They're lucky to be there, getting a free education is the 2020 version of they're lucky to have a place to sleep and food to eat. These kids are entitled is the 2020 version of they need to know their place. I'm not going to watch anymore is the 2020 version of they're here for me. The words lead by example are on the front page of Texas A&M's website. UT's slogan is what starts here changes the world. Kellen Mond and Caden Sterns have taken note. Plenty has evolved in the 155 years since June 19th, 1865, including the nature of this struggle. Under the umbrella of our favorite sports teams, we've been rooting on athletes, including black athletes, for years now. Well, what do you say on a day that recognizes actual freedom, we proclaim to truly celebrate them, instead of celebrating what they do for us?